Matt Gaetz, the guy who single-handedly forced this motion to vacate the speakership. What does Matt Gaetz want? What is he doing? Matt Gaetz is often peacocked as sort of an independent thinker, a guy who doesn't take big money, a guy who is against corruption, right? Who wants like term limits, which maybe some of us agree with him on actually. But it's really important to understand that while Matt Gaetz claims that he doesn't take big money, he's absolutely gunning for big money. He's gunning for it in his own current race, but also potentially in future races if he runs, as he seems to want to run, for governor in the state of Florida. To say nothing of the fact that he might be doing all of this to get away from any ethics investigations into his own past conduct, which is pretty effing serious. But anyway, there is new information, thanks to the Daily Beast, that there was a fundraising phone call hosted by Steve Bannon. And the Daily Beast obtained this video conference call organized by the Stop the Steal fundraiser, Carolyn Wren, in which Gaetz buttered up right-wing sugar daddies with off-the-record details about private conversations he'd had with former President Donald Trump. The most interesting part of the video, however, was the way Wren advised donors to use their wealth to bend Republican lawmakers to their wills. And Gaetz was right alongside her in doing that. So in other words, he says he doesn't believe in utilizing big money. He's super small dollar guy. In fact, he's been fundraising off of this week in the fact that he, single-handedly, effectively, or with other Republicans, was able to get McCarthy out of his speakership. But here he is behind the scenes saying, I have the line to Donald Trump if, you can use your money to do X, Y, or Z. And one of those ways that he used his money was to get a Republican representative to vote no on the continuing resolution. In other words, stop funding the government, shut it down. And he did that through Carolyn Wren, again, this Stop the Steal organizer, who texted to one of the donors, would you write a max donation to her? Her being this Republican representative, we don't know their name. Take a screenshot, send it to her and say, I'm only doing this because you're bravely standing up against the CR, the continuing resolution. And that worked. So effectively, a big dollar donor that Carolyn Wren and Matt Gaetz cajoled into voting no on the continuing resolution, kind of arguably trying to tank Kevin McCarthy. They were able to effectively do that. Yasmin, we were talking about this before the show started because it's a little bit of a convoluted story. And we'll get into why Matt Gaetz is absolutely not like a small dollar donation guy. But here he is, right? He's trying to use big money donor leverage, his leverage with Donald Trump, which I don't know how much he has, to undermine Kevin McCarthy and to undermine the entire government.
Yeah, so he's definitely trying to convince people that he does have a lot of leverage with Donald Trump. He's making it seem like him and Donald Trump are very much in cahoots as far as everything that Matt Gaetz is putting forth in Congress, including trying to oust the speaker from the position of speakership. So there's a few different things going on here. Right now, after Matt Gaetz brought that vote out to get Kevin McCarthy out of the speakership, all of the Republicans are coming after Matt Gaetz now, attacking him for various reasons, while also blaming the vote on the Democrats, right? So they're saying they're bringing up things with Matt Gaetz and his past with underage girls. And they're also saying, you're fundraising off of what you did. So you had a political and a financial motivation for doing what you did, for bringing this up in the first place. And he's saying, yeah, I'm a grassroots politician. Most of my money comes from these small dollar donations from my actual constituents, not from, these big moneyed interests like the rest of you. I don't grovel for big money like the rest of you do. But as we've seen from this leaked audio from a Zoom conference that was organized by Matt Gaetz and Representative Rosendale of Montana, on this call, that's exactly what he was doing, is he was courting these big money donors.
Yeah.
So now the question is, going forward, why is he doing this? What is this actually for? And there is some speculation, maybe he's trying to just strengthen the Freedom Caucus and try to, get some more money to his fellow Freedom Caucus members, or he's trying to secure larger donors for maybe his governor run in 2026, which is, as of right now, just a rumor, or if he really is just doing whatever Trump is asking him to do and solidifying all those donors, because he's gonna need a lot more than $20, $30 here and there to do whatever he wants to do next.
And let's remember that every time Republican says that they are independent and they don't take big money to and whether they're media figures like Ben Shapiro or whether they're politicians like Matt Gaetz, they're full of it. They're absolutely full of it. We understand who funds them. It's largely the fossil fuel industry. It's the Wilkes brothers who made mass billions of dollars in fracking, funding the Daily Wire. They are not independent. They're not small dollar donor run. This is not a Bernie Sanders, $17 average donor campaign. They all have, there is vested interest in stopping the government in order to slash any kind of public spending and funnel more and more money to the wealthy. Of course, we never saw this when it came to the $1.9 trillion tax break for the wealthy passed under Donald Trump. No, that's perfectly fine. That's spending we have. Final piece on Matt Gaetz. He's not a young upstart. He is the son of a politician named Don Gaetz. Don Gaetz, who absolutely is actually running again for state senate. He was in the state senate before. It looks like he's running again in the state of Florida. Matt Gaetz' political trail was not just preceded by, but heavily influenced by his father, a Republican multimillionaire businessman who had a reputation for rhetorical flourishes and drag out political fights. Don Gaetz all but paved the way for his son into Florida's political world, and some suggest his father's stature and influence is even helping his son as he faces a probe into potential sex trafficking. Yeah, you think, Daddy? Look at him, look at his face. He is such a fail son. Daddy, I'm in trouble again. Dad, so I Venmo'd her money and I thought she was 18. Dad, are you there? Like, come on. So again, let's just remember that this is where this guy comes from, and I'll leave it at that, and we'll cover more on Matt Gaetz because sadly he's not going anywhere.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.